could be could be 65 out there. Hope everybody had a good week, a productive week, and looking forward to the weekend. Seems so quiet when Dara's not here with her music. So I apologize for the uncomfortable silence. So I'm just gonna keep on just saying a little bit of nothing so we're not sitting here staring at each other. If you can, let's use the chat to check in really quickly. Let's just hear about where you are in California. If you're in California, if you're not, we still want to hear where you are and how you feeling. Yes.
I got some music I can play.
The silence wasn't doing it.
Unrealistic. And suddenly you're 18. Go to college for your plan B. What you want is too risky. Live for weekends and whiskey. We all got these big ideas. One day they're replaced with fear. How did we get here? Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your day deep?
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for, like I said, joining us, spending the end of your week with us. Ashanti, thank you for the tunes. My name is Kevin Berman. I work for First Five, Alameda County. I am the co-founder and program administrator of the Alameda County Fathers Corps. The Fathers Corps received a grant from Kaiser to work with the Family Justice Center Collaborative and spend some time, some months, a year, reflecting on what a father-friendly family justice center could be, should be, what a father-friendly family justice center looks like. What does it mean to be a father-friendly family justice center? So we've been on this journey together for about 6-8 months now or something like that. Had several trainings. We've had some amazing speakers. Spent a lot of time, like I said, reflecting on the history of this country, personal life experiences, how we see men, how we see fathers. We've had a lot of time to discuss that. And today's presentation is going to continue that discussion. I've been fortunate enough to participate in Ashanti's presentations probably about 3, 4, 5 times now at this point. And it's always powerful and always moving. And I hope you guys have the same experience. So with that, I'm going to shut up and turn it over to the reason that we're here today, and that's to hear this brother speak. So Ashanti, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. I am excited to be here with you, and you may saw me looking around, but I'm looking. I had some Post-it notes here. I'm used to being, when I'm in person, I got all my bag of goodies, and then when I'm on the computer, I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure I have my stuff here. And sometimes the stuff is quickly accessible, and sometimes it's takes me a minute to locate. So this is going to be in real time. Like, this is not a recording. This is me following along the energy that you are bringing to the space. And that energy you bring is what helps me to know what I'm doing. I have an ultimate plan of what we need to do at the end, because I want to leave some time for Q&A. But how we get there is going to look different. I don't know how we're going to get there, because it's going to take you being a part of this experience. Like, we are going into an experience together. Now, this is not a speech. It's not memorized. I have things that I have worked on over years to build connection. We're going to use those tools digitally, but it's all going to be about you in this space. And so some of you I won't be able to see. I recognize that. I'm hoping that we will be able to use, those who are not on camera will be able to use the chat. We've gotten into this digital world, so we have lots of different ways of multitasking. I was with a group of students the other day, and a student was on his phone on the front row of this presentation. Now, I don't take it personal like that, not a lot, maybe a little, but he was on the front row on his phone. And I'm like, if any of you have your devices out, this was like 2 days ago, by the way. This is fresh. This is a fresh story. So I'm like, if any of you got your phones out, I'm gonna ask you to put your phones away, unless, you're a doctor or you're a lawyer and you got to handle some important business, and you can just step out. And he's right in front of me, like literally 6 feet from me. And I'm saying it like to the whole 300 audience, but I'm really talking to him. But I'm doing my best not to point him out. And so I'm like, if any of you have your phones out that you don't need them right now, and whatever he's doing, it got his attention. And so I just stop. And I look, and I'm just like, if any of you have your phones out. And only till then I started whispering did he realize that I was talking to him. And he was like, oh, you talking to me? Like, yeah, I'm talking to you, brother. I'm talking to you. And so in the moment of that kind of situation of our multitasking, most of you students, these are all freshmen and sophomores, so you all got really good during the pandemic of multitasking. Like, you got class on one screen, you're playing your video games on the other screen, you got your homies over here dancing behind the over here. You got a multitude of things happening, and we've gotten really good at it. And sometimes it's hard just to be where our 2 feet are. Maybe you can just ask yourself when the times that it was really hard just to be where you are. Maybe somebody is calling you or texting you right now, or emailing you, and pop-ups are showing up on your screen, and they're pulling you to something that's happening in a month from now, or 2 months from now, or tonight. Today's Friday, right? Friday night. Maybe you got people texting you about what's happening tonight. So you're like, okay, I got this workshop for 2 hours. That's gonna be half of my day, and then it's time for the exodus from the office so I can get ready for this party tonight. Is it first Friday? No, it's the last Friday. So I don't know if you got any last Friday parties of the month, but whatever is happening, as much as you can, I invite you just to be right here. And as those things pull you, and they will, and they do, and they pull me too. I'm not immune to the distractions of life, because life is real for me too. I'm gonna invite you just to see, okay, can I come back? Can I come back? Maybe what I'm gonna say for some of you will be things you've heard multiple times before. Maybe not. Maybe something I'm gonna say today may activate your nervous system. And when I say your nervous system, we use terms in spaces like, maybe you find yourself getting triggered, whatever that means for you. See, I don't know you, so I don't know what stories that I may tell may hit you in your soul, like your being, your essence, like the part of you that you don't talk much about. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna say today that may activate you in that way, but I want you to know I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm taking energy, I'm feeling it, I'm navigating where I'm going next. And all this is just really helping you understand that my experience today, my goal today, is that you will remember a simple phrase when you leave. There is more to me than people can see by just looking at me. And then I also remember that everyone I see, there's more to them than I can see by looking at them. And maybe more people we have, the more than what we see and what we see about people, maybe we have files on people, right? So we've looked up their information in a file, and we got this Cume thing, and there's all this data that tells us about them. And so we're not making it up based on what we know, we're making it up based on all this data before. But I imagine if we're thoughtful, we could say that there's more to them even than those files can show. That's what I believe. As a teacher for a lot of years, as a administrator, now running a nonprofit, I'm clear that our work is around connection, around heart. And today is intended to be a heart experience more than is a heady experience. So I will rarely ask you any intellectual questions today. I want to tap in to your being, your essence, your heart. That's my goal today. So the way I want to start that is I would like you in the chat to put a number between 1 and 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Put a number between 1 and 10 based on how you're feeling right now. Just do a check. You can be a holistic number, but just give a number between 1 and 10 based on how you feel right now. And that will help us kind of really set into where we're going to go. And so as you're putting your number, thinking of your number, checking out the other numbers that went into the box, maybe you can just do a double check with yourself. It's like, was that my real number? Did I look at the number there and make a number there? Or did I really just, for my own self, put the number in, right? Did I give myself a chance to just be real in how I checked in? Sorry about that. Just do a check. And as you think about the number, and you can see the numbers in the chat, we can recognize that we're all in different places. We're all not at the high end of the scale. And maybe if you were using a number system like 1 to 10, and you said, well, 5 is in the middle, maybe you thought that the 5 was in the middle. But let me tell you what I meant by the number system. You see, I work in a lot of schools. And so I use a number system that most schools use. And usually if you're a 7 out of 10 on a quiz or a test or a project, 7 out of 10 will get you. Anybody know this percentage really quick? Somebody got it? Somebody got it quick? I heard you say it. You don't have to worry about it. Yep. Somebody even, I don't know, Mike said it. 70%. 70%. And on most curves, depending on unless you got some real nerds in your class, 70% usually is a C minus. Now, if a cool teacher may give you a flat C, but on many curves, 70% is like a C minus-ish. And then when you go below 7, you're in the 6, you're in the D range and F range, and some schools don't even give Fs and Ds, so you just don't even count anymore. Like, imagine if you checked in here at a 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. I just want you to know that I'm here with you. Like, I put myself, before I get on this thing, I do myself to get ready to be at a high energy level, right? But it'd be naive of me to believe that because I've done the work to like be here ready to present to you, that you should also be really here high energy. And because I'm feeding off your energy, it would be naive of me to believe that, hey, where's your energy? I'm giving you all my energy. Give me your energy. Like, I know we may want that from others, but it would be naive to expect that all the time. And so I'm gonna invite you, as you think about your number and where you are, we're gonna do our first check-in. We're going to do a check-in with one person. And so we're going to just break you into a room. They're going to be random. I don't know who you're going to be with. And it's an opportunity for you each just to, how you doing? How you doing? You can talk about the weather. You can talk about sports. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You get about a minute and a half each. And I invite you just to set a timer so that you really kind of mindfully take care of each other's time and make sure each person gets to speak. If you feel like in your minute and a half, you don't have nothing else to say, then just sit in silence and just look at each other. Like, the other person doesn't get to talk during your minute and a half. Like, I mean, they may be willing to, but the temptation is that we just let it be in silence. Maybe you decide with each other, we don't want to have our cameras on and we don't need to see each other. Great, do that. Whatever you need to do to take care of each other in that minute and a half each. So you're going to get about 3 minutes. I know we need time for moving in and moving out, so we'll make this breakout about 3.5 minutes. So get in, introduce yourselves, and then the first person, whoever wants to go first, a minute and a half each, and we'll be back here in about 4 minutes, okay? So I'll see you back after this check-in. Those who just arrived, we're doing a check-in, pretty open-ended. How are you doing right now? And we go from there. See you in a bit. And thank you, Selenia. I saw your answer in the chat now. Thank you.
All rooms are open. Please join your room.
All right.
One person is, oh, there's a few people by themselves.
Who's
They are.
Yeah, there's Jekyll and Martin in room 8 and 11.
I'm gonna move.
I'm gonna move Martin to 8.
Okay, cool. Now we have Leah, and I'll move. Oh, now we have Leah. I'll move Leah into.
Yep. She got moved into the room 12. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Did people drop off? That was weird. Folks didn't want to go in the breakout rooms. Oh, we gotta send you back.
Hello.
All right, I'm gonna add you to room 8. Let's see. Oh, can I move?
Is it Mahana?
It's like room 2 now has one person.
Room 2?
Yep.
People are scared of each other.
They're like, no, what are you doing?
Nick, can you? I don't see where I can put her back in a room.
I will try. Well, I see Mia. She's already. I don't know how she's in this chat.
Room 5 has.
You said she didn't join.
Is it Maihan?
Yeah, I'm gonna move.
It's Mihan.
Mihan, awesome. On the bottom of your screen, you should probably see, because it says you hasn't joined yet. You should see a button that says join room, or at the bottom.
No, I don't see it.
Let me try this.
Oh, I see. You removed you and then put you back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now Modesta is by herself.
Yeah, now I'm gonna move Modesta to just 2.
Okay.
So they'll be into there.
All right. So so 2s are probably not a good idea. Next time we'll do 3s. Good as a note to self. 2s require too much. People get too nervous. Have one person. They're like, I guess I got to participate, right? Or if I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, I'm gonna hand me for a listen only mode. I came here for listen only mode.
God forbid you have to share how you're feeling today. That's how, that's heavy stuff for some people, right?
Now Elizabeth is by herself. I'm gonna go over here and say
we can move. We could. Oh, we don't want to necessarily interrupt somebody because room 2 has 3 people.
Yeah, they're already talking. I'll go in and check in with Elizabeth. Well, I'll leave Elizabeth. Let me see. I'll send her a message. Let me see. Let's see. We have 45 seconds.
I could just move her to a room, or
you could bring her back and she can tell us how she's feeling if she feels like.
All right. How do I do that?
Oh,
okay. Here she is. Hi, Elizabeth. Sorry about that.
Hi, that's okay. I was like, I don't think she can hear me.
Oh, that's okay.
We can hear you. We can hear you just fine. Were you able to check in? Would you like to check in with us?
Sure. I'm just a happy camper today. I feel blessed. My kids are healthy. I have food to feed them. My rent is paid. I'm just happy.
Good.
Your voice, your tone says all of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel that.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, folks should come back on their own. I need to not do that next time, I guess. Lock that feature.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
Another 30 seconds and everybody will be back.
Oh yeah.
And then for the next room, Ashanti, we want 4 people.
We'll do 4, yeah.
before you asked the question about how we were doing, I had my watch on. My watch was bothering me, and it usually doesn't. And it's early in the morning. It's like I've only had it on for a few hours, and so I took it off. And when you asked the question, I was like, hey, I'm good. Like that watch was bothering me for whatever reason today, but like it was weird. It doesn't typically, but I removed that, and I was able to kind of balance myself.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I think sometimes it's important, like we can check in, like, where are we? Like, where am I? Where am I for real, you know?
Yeah. I like what you said about the feet, where the feet are at.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Is everyone back? I think the room's closed already. Just want to make sure. Okay, great. Well, welcome back, folks. How about this? How about we hear from maybe one or two people who would like to just share how that was? We know that we had some musical chair breakouts, and so we moved people were moving, people were bouncing back. All of it is a part of the experience. We kind of planned it that way, so just know that it's all part of your experience. And so you can say this was a personalized experience for you this morning so far, that I hope that you felt cared for. Like we really wanted you to have a unique experience for yourself at the end of this workshop. How was that? How was that communicating with someone that maybe you didn't know or did know, or to be asked how you're doing, to have a minute and a half of like silence or words to be just fully heard? What was that like? Let me just hear like 3 people if they're willing to speak. If you feel more comfortable in the chat, you can type it in the chat. But if you're willing to speak out loud, we'd love to hear from you.
I enjoyed it. I found it very interesting to talk to meet someone and get a chance to learn a little bit about them and how different and how the same we are.
So thank you, Jim.
Yeah, to agree with that. It was very nice to, just connect with somebody and have that space, because a lot of times when you first interact with somebody, it's always very shallow. So to be given the space to actually talk about some things that might be meaningful to you was very nice.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyone else feel called to say something? All right. If we can recognize how we often check in with people, how they're doing, how you're doing, how am I doing? We may walk by people, or depending on if we work virtual or however we work, how you doing? How you doing? Who has a go-to answer when someone asks you how you're doing? Put it in the chat. What's your go-to answer when someone asks you how you're doing? Maybe you have a go-to answer. Like you just like, boom, you lock in. You got to answer. They ask you, you got an answer right away. What's your go-to answer when people ask you how you're doing? Yeah. Go-to answers. How you doing? Doing well. I'm good. Good. How are you? Good. Good. How about you? Okay. How about you? Have any of you ever answered those answers? I can't complain. I'm well. I'm good. I'm cool. Have any of you ever answered those answers, but it wasn't always all with the truth? Anybody? You can raise your hand. You don't have to put it in the chat. Like anybody ever say, "Oh, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm great. I'm fine." And you weren't all the way good, cool, fine, okay. Do say thank you. How about somebody help us, and maybe a couple of people, if you could do it in the chat. Why would we do that? Why would we say to somebody we were good, cool, fine, okay, can't complain, I'm doing well, if we were not? Why? If somebody asked us, gave us permission, they asked us a question, so we had room to answer. Why didn't we answer? Why didn't we answer fully? Why would you not answer fully if you had a chance? Social expectations, don't want to get into it because it's awkward to say you're not doing well, don't want to burden them, not wanting to overshare because they can't change whatever's going on, hesitant to be vulnerable, they don't care. The question wasn't really a question, so the answer doesn't need to be really an answer. It was a greeting, but it was asked as a question, but it wasn't really a question. Like it was more like hi. And so you just respond hi, right? We got in the practice of that interaction being not as authentic as maybe the question would present itself. People do not want the real answer. Don't want to present as a person with problems, less complicated. Yeah. I heard a young person in my work say, it's a less frictionless experience. We want to have a frictionless encounter when we encounter people. So keep things moving. We don't want to slow it down. I think that's true. The question isn't really a greeting, not a question. Here's what I want to have you just reflect on in the answers that we see in the chat. Most of the answers, not all, but most, are about the other person. You see, I don't think I saw anybody. I did my best to read them all. No one said because, well, somebody said, I don't really want to get into it. And maybe I'll ask a little deeper question why I don't want to get into it. Maybe it's I don't want to talk about it. And that could be a true one. But oftentimes what we're doing is we're trying to protect the feelings and the emotions of others. So we resist our needs. And if that's not you, I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying as a general note, a lot of the times we talk about we're worrying about what other people. We don't want to burden them. We don't want to worry them. They don't really care. Like, and I think oftentimes because that question has begun to mean not much, then we oftentimes don't get what we need a lot. And not just you in this room. I'm talking about we ask this question to thousands of people around the country, around the world. How are you doing? And when we are understanding that, when we can get clear about, oh, maybe I'm asking people, and I'm thinking everybody else is doing great in their life, or everyone's doing fine because everyone's doing fine. But I'm not realizing that I'm only saying fine because they said fine, or I'm saying good because they said good, and I'm mirror matching energy. And part of our work is how do we have a better engagement with each other and connection? And today's going to be about connection. So I'm going to show you a video. We're going to watch some videos. We're going to do some activities. We're going to have some questions. It's going to be as much mixed as I can. Before I move to the video, I should show you this slide. Let me show you this slide. So this is a shirt that was designed. It was an image designed by a teenager, a 8th grader in Yuma, Arizona. And I don't know if you've ever been to Yuma, Arizona. If you don't like the heat, don't go. But Yuma, Arizona, I went there, did a workshop with some high school. This is a middle schooler. And I told these students in this room, and I'll kind of tell you what happened. I did a conference the day before. I was trying to get some schools to bring us in to do a workshop the next day because I was going to just stay in town one more day. Schools weren't really biting on it. After I did the keynote at this conference, schools were like, you got time tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I got time at this time. I said, okay, can you come to our school? Like, I think I did a good job, right? So I go to the school, and some of the kids who were at the conference came up to me while I was getting set up. Now, this is a gymnasium with 400 middle schoolers. And what I saw when these students came up to me, now I'm a big feeler, right? So I feel energy. I don't have to hear a lot of words right away, but I feel energy. I saw some middle schoolers looking at these middle schoolers who came up to greet me with a look. Now you can give it, I'm not gonna name, I can't name what the look is, but you know the look, right? I saw some students in the audience looking at these students who came up to give me a high five, kind of like giving them the look. And here's what the look said to me. They didn't say these words, but here's what I said. Who they think they are, how they think they know him. Now, they don't know maybe that they saw me the day before and we met the day before. They don't really know that. But the look they were giving these students, I felt it. And so I wanted to, like, right away, as soon as I began to address some of the looks that I saw, not words, looks, just a feeling I had. And I said, you know, maybe some of you have thoughts going on in your head a lot of times that maybe are very positive and maybe they're not. Maybe you tell people that you're doing great and you're not, but I want you to just be mindful of how often that we get in our head about stuff that may be holding us back from being our best selves. And I was handing this kids to teenagers, right? So I'm talking to preteens, but I'm having this conversation because I know what I saw in the audience, but I'm also trying to engage all the other ones who thought that by me high-fiving this student meant that they don't get a high five. They could all get a high five if they wanted one. You know, they could have all come up to me, but what happens in these spaces. So this teenager, I said, look, if any of you have a design in your mind, a thought in your mind, an image, a song you want to share with the world and you don't feel comfortable sharing, we'll share it for you. We'll share it for you as a part of this movement. And this student created this design because we asked him the same question. What's your go-to answer? This design didn't exist before. It was a thought in my mind, but when a student put it on paper is when I'm like, that's exactly what I've been talking about. But I don't have design skills like this. I couldn't have put this together in an image. I could just say it with words. Everything I was saying to you before, I said to those teens, and that 8th grader got inspired and created this. I'm just sharing that with you because I think sometimes what we're trying to do in this moment is just like have these deep conversations and put it in a visual that helps us see it better. I'm gonna show you a video. This one's gonna move into a more personal story. This is going to be a father who's having a conversation with his son. And in this conversation, you're going to hear some emotion, you're going to see some emotion, but, you know, depending on your connection to men showing emotion, something may come up for you. So I'm going to just let you see it, take it in. We'll come back and we'll do a reflection on it after it's over. We're going to watch about 1.5 minutes of it. Not too much. Here we go.
Never had to do that before. All right, man. So what's on your mind?
Look, I don't want you to think like I'm trying to attack you, what you've done, just start ragging on you. I don't want you to think that. I love you. I'm coming in here with love.
I know you love me.
Yeah, and I just want you to say, okay, I'm sorry. I did it. You know?
Well, you know
I'm wrong, but
I did it. I did it. You know what I mean? And I was wrong for it. We've not interacted with each other so long. Why?
Because you never mean. Okay.
But what about the first 14 years, man, when I broke my back? I'm not even talking about providing, but just to have a relationship with you. Do you remember how often I would, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Anything you want to talk about? Do you recall any times I ask you, like, I would make up things just to spend time with you, yet still, we had no interaction. We're the type of people that we're never really gonna talk much.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we don't love each other, because we're similar in that way. Like, even when you see me mad, you would know that I'm not mad at you, but yo, I didn't know a nigga with a father. I didn't know not one nigga with a father. Not one. Did the best I could, man. I was loving. You always knew I loved you. You always knew I loved you. I didn't know what I was doing, but I tried. I gave it a genuine effort. Still genuine. I know I'm not the best father. Damn, homie, I tried. I really, like, sincerely tried. I tried, man. I'm sorry. I tried. That's all I wanted. Never giving up.
Take a breath. Fame, fortune, wealth. If you don't know who he is, he's a former rapper. He's no longer with us. Got married real young, had a kid real young, but making millions of dollars, traveling the world, and the relationship was broken. And sometimes we need the help of others to help us sit down long enough to just have the conversation sometimes. But before I narrate anything more, like, what did you hear? What did you see? What did you notice? You can put it in the chat. You can maybe hear from 1 or 2 people out loud, but what did you see? What did you notice? What did it make you feel? It was deep. Pain and hurt. Son just wanted connection. It was difficult for him to express his emotions. Authenticity. My first thought is, why are you trying to make us cry on a Friday? But really, it was beautiful, painful, but beautiful, because there were breakthroughs at the end. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You know, I was raised by a single mother. I can feel both their emotions and the breakthrough raw truth, trying to break through it, break the chain, wishing more men knew it was okay to show emotions like that, and how society, we don't. Simple hug. Yeah. You know, when I see it, sometimes it hits me harder. It hit me today. I have tears in my eyes. I think I didn't have a father growing up. So sometimes I can talk about that and I can get through it with no deep emotion hitting me. Today I'm feeling it a lot. And I think the other day, I think someone asked me the question, I forgot how it came up, but I was more talking about like I got gray hair, like, and I'm still having these father wounds that are showing up in my life, in my heart, in my soul. Like there's some things that if I show you, there's some many scars I have on my hand. I don't feel them anymore. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember what I did on there. That was at Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World in Florida. I remember. I can look at some of these scars and be like, oh, I remember them, but they don't do anything to me when I look at them. Oh, like, oh, I don't remember that one anymore. Oh, that was an iron. I remember that one. But if we have not yet dealt with some of those things, they may still be wounds. And a wound means that it still has healing to do. It still has work to do to heal. So when it comes up, when we talk about it, when someone brings it up, when someone speaks about it in some other context, we may feel activated by it because it may still be some wounding in there that we have not yet had a chance to deal with, or we've not had enough time to let it scar over so it can heal and then be like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. And some things take longer than others. And so I showed that to you just as we get ready to start talking about the deeper work around what we've done with young men and boys in our work at Ever Forward Club, but what we're doing around the world with these masks that we talk about. And we're going to talk about masks in a second, but I want to just jump into a little bit more of a personal story. Thank you all for writing in the chat, for sharing some of your reflections on that. I think that it is important that we have ways for healing conversations, healing reconciliations. That's, I think, is really important. So I'm going to move into my slide deck a little bit. I'm not going to show a lot of slides, but I will show you a couple as we kind of navigate this conversation. We'll be on slides for maybe about 5 or 7 minutes, and then I'll come back and we're gonna have another activity coming up in about 10 minutes. So get ready for that. If you're gonna be stationary, it'll be great because you're gonna have to click on a link and do something digitally. So let me get to the slides. Here we go. Okay. So you saw this image. This is one of the taglines for our campaign. There's more to me than you can see by looking at me. People you see, young people, these are our young men in our program. There's more to me. There's more to you than I can see by looking at you. And how do we continue to remind ourselves for that? Sometimes because we live in a world that often is visual. And so we see something and we're like, oh, that's what that person's like. Oh, that's what that person's like. And we make so many judgments that are deeper than what is actually really happening on the outside because we may miss that understanding that there's deeper things going on. This one night, I was leaving work. My office is here in Hayward, California. And I went and grabbed some food and a situation happened. So I'm gonna let you watch this video. It's pretty short, but hopefully it will make sense after we come back and talk about it.
Hey, this is weak ass tactics. Hey, you're letting yourself be provoked. He ain't nobody. I probably should. Baby, fuck this nigga. Baby, fuck this nigga. He ain't nobody. Baby. You sure you got a copy of his plate and shit too? Yeah. Matter of fact, get out. Okay, good.
So, dile le pueden tomar una foto. Solo déjenle tomar una foto y nada más. No. Just take a picture of it.
Bitch ass niggas. Stop telling me what to do, bitch.
And it's probably good you're not calling me a nigga again.
A nigger. Stop telling me what to do. Yeah. You're acting like a fucking nigger.
You keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
All right, you take a picture of mine too. Here. Bitch. You don't need relevant, motherfucker. We didn't need you, bitch.
So that one is still a wound. I felt goosebumps pop up my arm again. It's still not fully healed from that night. That happened one day after work. I went to the grocery store. I'm in the car getting ready to leave, checking my phone, doing whatever right before I get ready to drive off. And this car gets hit next to me. And the first, because it was so loud and because I saw this car move in my periphery, I thought I got hit. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I realized that I'm not hit. That car is hit. And then I see a baby in the front seat or in the second seat, and the car was parked. So they were just a family in there. And then this car that hit it was driving away. So here, look, I'm born and raised in Oakland, California. There's some unwritten rules in Oakland, California growing up here. One is mind your own business. You learn that before you're 5, maybe by 6 or 7, you barely have it memorized. Mind your own business. So my first resort is, this ain't my business, mind my business. But my heart, Ashanti is a nurturer. I was raising kids at 7 years old. Like I saw this little kid in there and I thought about my sister and my nephews. And I'm like, what would I want somebody to do for my sister? My sister got hit and somebody was driving away. I always wanted to get the license plate. So I got out of my car, got out, took my phone, and just took a picture of the license plate as the car was driving off. Apparently the person was looking in their rearview mirror because they saw me. So the car stopped and then he pulled, I was like, oh God, here we go. So I wasn't prepared for having no confrontation. I was prepared, take a photo. That's how my contribution to this situation is going to be. First of all, knowing that I should be minding my own business. But all of a sudden he comes back and he's like, why your car parked out like that? And I'm like, huh? First of all, I'm like trying to figure out, I'm prepared for a battle, but I'm first of all now like, what are you talking about? Like, I said, what? And he said, why your car sticking out like that? I'm like, this ain't my car. You hit a parked car. What are you talking about, right? And he started walking closer. He's like, well, the car shouldn't have been out. I'm like, man, I don't have nothing to say. Like, you hit a parked car. And now you're trying to like blame something else. So in my mind, it's a lot going on. Now, I'm not recording. I took a picture of the license plate. And then he started like, well, why you mind other people's business? Why you being a snitch? And he started doing all this. And that's when the conversation got deeper. And the first time he dropped the N-bomb on me, I was like, oh, that's what that feels like. Because it hasn't happened to me in a long time by some stranger who I don't really know or like, and a person who's like out of their mind. So I'm like, oh, wow. In my mind, if I'm be really honest, I'm gonna be as honest as I can be. I have been waiting for this to happen. I have a lot of stored up juice that has been waiting for someone. Because I see it on people's on my phone all the time. I see it happen to people. I'm like, there's no way I'll let somebody talk to me like that. There's no way in the world I'll let somebody talk to me like that. That's what I say. That's Ashanti talking. That's my 17-year-old who's still in there, hot-headed as all. And I was like, I've been waiting on a moment like this. And then my second thought was like, this is not going to go well for you, Ashanti. So I took my phone out to record, to almost act like I was watching a movie, so I could disconnect the fact that these arrows were hitting me in my soul. Like I was getting fired up. I was beyond fired up, just be honest. Like, but I'm recording it. I'm just going like, okay, he's talking to the camera. I'm watching a movie. I'm watching YouTube. I'm watching some IG live. It ain't me. So because I'm trying to help this family. This family didn't speak English. Now, he doesn't know I speak Spanish. I don't know what he knows, but all I know is that I was really just trying to help this family. And then when they got out of the car, the parked car, he started asking them for their license. And I'm like, dude, that's not going to happen that way. Like you're ridiculous. Like you hit their car and you try to drive away. So the fact that you're not asking people for their license is your own stirred up stuff. And that's when his partner started getting in my face and all this. And I just showed you one small clip. It was a long video, but why am I showing you that? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, it's hard to explain if you've never had a situation like that, how I was feeling inside. Like I'm gonna do my best to explain, but I want to name it for a couple of reasons. I don't have a lot of trust in police. I'm in Hayward, California. I've heard lots of stories. I've experienced several stories. I'm just have a trust issue. And I knew that if I got into a battle with this person, first of all, any kind of battle, when they showed up, I'm going to be the enemy. I'm going to be the bad guy because most of the cops in this city don't look like me. And I don't think in the way I see the world, they don't have my best interest at heart. But in the moment where he began to like throw those words out, where I was like feeling like attacked, I knew that my job was to be there for that family. So I'm only naming this because how often are we dealing with situations or people who are trying to do their best, but yet they're having all the recordings in their mind of how the world works for them. And so therefore, maybe you don't hear everything they want to say. Maybe they don't get to say everything because they're thinking that this is not going to be safe for me. It's not safe for me to speak here. It's not safe for me to have words here. It's not safe for me to have an opinion here because the people who are in charge are going to think that I'm the one in wrong. They're going to blame me. And so I share that with you because at the end of that video, when I went home that night, in my mind, I was like, I'm going to share it. But I couldn't share it because I was worried about what some of my friends were going to say. I'm an adult, but I'm telling you what happened. I was like, my friend's gonna be like, how you let this guy talk to you like that? How dare you let him talk to you like that? You know, and I was hearing all the voices of those teenagers in my life who always was like, don't be no weak, don't be soft, don't let nobody take advantage of you. And I held on to the video. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt nobody not to share it, but guess what? It began to hurt. It began to hurt me. Now, my addiction of choice is sweets. Like I'm a food addict. Like I can do without candy and I can do without bread, but you put some sugar and flour together and I would devour it in an unhealthy way. So I began to eat. I'm hearing his guy's voice in my head for 6-7 months. I can't erase it. Like it's almost hard to describe to people, but I'm going to do my best to describe. Like I would hear him saying that to me over and over. I would see his face. I'm not rewatching the video. I've not rewatched it as these things are happening. But what I'm doing, I'm trying to like deal with and I'm numbing. I'm numbing with sweets. And my health began to my weight began to balloon. Like I'm a big guy. I can go into a store and buy a pack of Oreos. No one's gonna think anything of it. But how I treat that pack of Oreos is disrespectful. Like I'm telling you, it's not healthy. It's not even an intelligent person would be like, that is not intelligent. But in my mind, I'm just trying to like not deal with what I'm dealing with. And in our community right now, I'm not talking about just for adults, I'm talking about for teens. They are numbing, and with access to marijuana and easy access than it ever been, I think, in many times, even though some people seem to have to go to the store for it. It's so easy accessible for some of them. They're eating it, they're drinking it, they're chewing gum in class, they're high out of their minds, and no one's like, you can't smell it, so you don't assume anything, but they're not there, they're not present. And how often are people walking around numbed out because all the things that we don't have a place to go and talk about? I not only talk about for me, but for men who I know, men who have jobs and families and careers who also don't really often have a place. And so when we do our check-ins with each other, we ask each other, how you doing? And when somebody gives a soft, low-key, quick, fast answer, it's always inspected. It's always respected, but it's inspected too. Hey, if you're doing good, good. Tell us what's good. Tell us what's good. What's good? Tell us what's good today. You're doing fine? Okay, what's fine? Tell us what's fine. We're going to expect it. And if you realize then that people are actually going to make time for you, maybe you'll be willing to go deeper. I'll stop there because I have more stories, but I'm going to stop with that one. So in this work that we have been trying to do, that we've been trying to do with people to ask these questions, the deeper questions about what's happening behind what we can see on the outside, that is the work of the Ever Forward Club, the Million Mask Movement. So let me move through. Okay, I'm going to skip this video. Now, I told you I don't know if I told you I was a math teacher. I was a math teacher. I'm like a math nerd. I love math. These are just some math dates. It's a thing I do to keep connecting to math. I'm gonna show you a letter that was written to me when I was a teacher or educator by a middle school student. Let me just read it because you already probably heard reading it already. Dear Ashanti, I'm Ashanti. He's, by the way, in middle school. By the way, I'll just tell you what his age so you can just get a context. I don't like you. On a scale from 1 being good and 10 meaning I hate you, you are a 9.992. I don't hate you yet, but you're very close. I promise. Yours truly. Now, I don't know if you ever got a yours truly letter, but let me just say that for me as an educator, when I got home that night and read these student reflections about how they were enjoying my class, my amazing class, this letter stopped me in my tracks. Like, first of all, I was a little irritated, but I asked for it. And then I thought, this is funny. And it kind of stings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that me and this kid didn't get along. We had battles. We had battles in class. I did my best, we just didn't get along very well. But when I read this, I was like, he's a good writer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that I could have ever thought of being this sharp with words when I was in middle school. And I literally, as much as in the moment I had to like check myself, like how irritated I was compared to how amused I was, it's a letter that still 7 years later, I'm sharing with you, because what would it be like if more people had a chance to like reflect on how they really felt about something and not worried about that thing coming back and haunting them in an unhealthy way? Like, he didn't say anything really inappropriate in this letter. It was just direct and sharp. Like, but here's what I know about a lot of teachers at that school. This would have got him in the office. This would have got him a referral. This would have got a kid who I asked for his opinion, who told his opinion. He's now getting in some trouble because he spoke his mind. And guess what? Sometimes we ask for things that we may not really know we're asking for. Maybe he felt safe because I wanted to make the room safe. I wanted them to tell me the truth. And I had to learn how to handle the truth in a way that was important. So this is me growing up. Like, hey, anger is what people would say to me, because in elementary school, I was fighting a lot. Why you always wear that mask? Why are you always angry? Ashanti, why are you always angry? And only once or twice people began to like slowly ask what was happening behind all this anger. Why am I suspended at least once or twice a month? I guess suspended 20 plus times between the 4th and the 6th grade, always for fighting. And none of the fighting did I start. I didn't start any of the fights, but it's in me, right? There was a lot of anger in me, a lot of sadness deep down that my father wasn't around, that my father had died before I was born. That was my journey. And so what I want to do, I'm skipping a lot of videos in here. All right. But I do want you to know that at 7 years old, when my second sibling was born, this is my brother right here on the couch, I was told by my uncle I was a man of the house. My father had died before I was born. My siblings' fathers weren't around. I was supposed to be the man of the house. I was barely figuring out what it meant at 7 to be what a boy meant. Like, and I was supposed to be a man, like a man of the house. How does this work? And it was complicated. And I was taking care of these kids. Like I was a nurturer. Like I was raised to be nurturing. This work that I know in my life has been a journey of trying to figure it out. Now my brother, who's on the couch right there, he's currently battling his own addictions. And it's sad. Like, it's sad that as much as I care about him and I love him, this man right here, which is my father, who I've never met, only through a picture, that I recognize that the journey of every day, the work I get to do with young men in schools, the middle schools, is helping them see, who are you trying to be in the future? Whether you have your father present or don't, who are you trying to be? And how do we serve you that you can be your best self today, even though all the things that were stood up against you? This is my mom. This is my grandma. This is my father's mother. So this is my only connection to the branch in my life. I'm just showing you this because I want you to know that we're about to move into a deeper part of the work. But I'm not here because I read a bunch of books anywhere. Like I think I'm here because I've been on this journey of like figuring out since 7 years old, when I was told I was supposed to be a man and I didn't even know what it meant. These are some friends from college, engineer friends. So let me stop sharing there. And I think we're about ready to jump into the activity. I am in this journey of education, not because I chose education. Like I wanted to be rich. Like that was my plan. Like I grew up a poor boy in Oakland. I knew poor wasn't fun. So they told me that if you go to college and get a good job and make a lot of money, you can live happily ever after. I'm like, say it again. They said, okay, look, if you study hard and go to college, get a good job, make a lot of money, you can live happily ever after. I'm like, sign me up for that plan. And I worked on that plan. And then I got to engineering school, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And then I graduated making money, living like, and moved. For those of you who don't know the Bay Area, if you don't know the Bay Area, is Walnut Creek. I live in Walnut Creek. Just listen to the name of that sound of that city, Walnut Creek. See, somebody can't even just keep they heard it and they just felt Walnut Creek. They just spoke out loud. It evoked something in you. when you're in Walnut Creek. I am clear that was a dream, like as that happened. And then something in me said, Ashanti's supposed to be a teacher. And I'm like, oh, and you got the wrong house, because teachers don't make this kind of money. Teachers can't live here in Walnut Creek in this kind of space. Like, that's not going to work for me. And what the journey of being a teacher has taught me, and when I finally accepted the calling on my journey, is that I am supposed to be doing something different. But it didn't start that way. It didn't start with me being a good teacher. I started off actually being a pretty horrible teacher, I think. And the horrible part of teaching was not because I wasn't at work on time, I wasn't prepared. It was because I had smart kids in my class that were failing. Smart kids that were failing in my class. Like, I'm like, I don't understand. So here's what I'm gonna have you do. I'm gonna have you do an activity that I had them do. And I think it will hopefully make sense about this this journey. So if you have a piece of paper handy, great. If you don't, you can do it in your mind, but I think writing it down means something. I'm gonna have you write something in a second, okay? So when I started off as a bad teacher, I thought that me trying to teach was the problem. So in corporate America, I had a coach. So I told these students one day, I said, I'm not gonna be your teacher, no, I'm gonna be your coach. So here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna have you write down these answers to these prompts. That's what I told my students. And then from now on, I'm gonna be your coach. I'm not gonna be your teacher, okay? So if I were to ask you to just think in your mind, or what is an obstacle that you've overcome? An obstacle in your life you've overcome? What's a challenge, obstacle that you've overcome? Or more be one that you're currently facing. Like, this is what I asked these students. So maybe you can just take a minute. I'll give you about a minute. You don't need to write anything long. It's just for you. You don't have to share this. But just if you thought about somebody asking you, what is the obstacle that you've overcome in your life? Or what is the obstacle that you currently face? Maybe just think about that for a second. I should probably be thinking about it probably easier than writing it for now. I'm going to share with you a couple of the answers I got from these students. Now, remember, I'm a math teacher trying to figure out why am I doing a bad job as a math teacher, but I'm trying to also figure out how to help these students do better. So I'm thinking that when I'm asking the obstacles they've overcome or they're facing, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to get some math information so that I can help them be as a better math teacher. That's what in my mind, deep down, I was thinking. I didn't know what I was going to get, but I was kind of hoping I was going to get some fuel to add to the value. So here's some answers some of the students gave. Obstacles that I overcome in my life is drugs and my girlfriend. Obstacles that I currently face are some teachers being boring, like my English class. Okay, I identify with this kid. I didn't like my English class either in high school. Obstacle that I have overcome in my life, I almost overcome gangs and stuff like that. Obstacles that I currently face, they're gangs. He could have said I've overcome them. He wrote the almost in there, like he slipped it in later, like I'm still trying to work on that. And the last two I'll show you. Obstacles that I overcome in my life is the fact that my dad is not with me no more, and I had to accept it now. Obstacles that I currently face are school and how bad I want to do good in school, but I always end up slacking off. Like, I didn't know this kid had a situation with his father. I was a math teacher. How would I know that? How would I know that he's having these father situations? Because I'm there to teach math. That's my job. It wasn't until this day that I realized that this young man in middle school watched his father pass. His parents don't know about therapy, or they didn't know anything about it to provide him any. He replays that over and over in his mind. They think he's slacking off. He's at school every day on time, notebook out, pencil, everything sitting there, and he does nothing every single day. I was like, he's a good kid, but he don't do no work. He gets like a 0%. Like, how do you get a 0%? That's like really hard. You know, I'll make sure I give you participation and credit points for just showing up, but you do nothing. Like, and he's having a replay in his mind, but no one's asked him what he's feeling because his mom is telling him he's slacking off because his grades are low. This is the work that we're talking about, and it's happening with young people, not only just young people, but our communities as well. And his last one is a freshman. He said, obstacle that I overcome was just make it to the age I am. And passing this math class is something he was currently facing. I would have bet you every penny I had this kid didn't care about my class. The fact that he even wrote that, whether it was trying to give me some some boost in my confidence about how I was teaching, but the fact that he wrote it on the paper, I would have guaranteed you that he didn't care about passing my class. I didn't know that he had to walk 2 extra miles to walk around a gang neighborhood so he could get to school. So he's late every day because he's walking extra miles in the morning, and he's exhausted and tired and all the other things that are going on in his life. I did not know this until I began to understand deeper what was happening with students. This is the work. And so anyway, the long story short, as I tried to start writing letters to students, I don't like to write. So it started, but it didn't stay. Now, here's what I'll do. I'm going to ask you to think about your work and your vision for your own, your industry, your personal work, your family work. And I'd like you to think about a problem that you want to solve this year. So what is a problem that you want to solve? It could be something that's just around a personal personal development problem you want to solve, or maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's something you want to just go after. But think about something that you want to improve or a problem that you want to solve this year. I invite you to think about it, write it down. Maybe you already know it. Maybe you had, performance meetings about it. Like, what are your goals this year? Maybe you already have it in your mind. So a problem you want to solve this year. There's two more questions. So I'm gonna have you think about these next two. Okay. So you got the problem down that you want to solve this year, a challenge you want to put yourself through this year to improve. If you are successful with that, who is a primary beneficiary? So name who the primary beneficiary is if you are successful with that. Is it you? Is it your personal development goals? Is it family? Is it community? Is it the clients you work with? Is it your team? Is it what? If you're successful with that goal, who is the primary beneficiary? Okay. And the last question, what is one action that you can take to move the goal forward? Now, this is not a goal setting workshop, obviously, right? But I want you just to name, I want you to think about this, because this is what I had to do when I was teaching. Like the vision was that these smart young men were failing my class. That's a systemic problem. I can't fix the school system. I'm a first-year teacher. I'm barely trying to figure out how to fix these young men in my class, not fix them. I'm trying to how to support them. But I'm also teaching 150 kids, trying to have action plans for every kid who has their own individual needs and desires and ways of showing up to school. But I was like, what is one thing I can do? What is one thing you can do to move the goal forward? If I try to see 20 years later, this is the 20th year of our program, I would have stopped because it was too big. What is one action that you can take to move your goal forward? Okay. So hopefully you got those 3 questions written down for yourself. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to show you. So when Ever Forward Club first started, I was a first-year teacher. I was doing a horrible job. I had smart kids failing. I was trying to figure out, how can I do just one thing? This letter, which was written in May of 2024, May of 2004. As I said, we're about to hit our 20-year anniversary next year, this early part of next year. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to figure out something for those young men who were in my class, in my math class, but they needed something that wasn't math related. So I invited them to be a part of this club. I said, okay, I can invite you to this meal. We can have a conversation, and I'm going to try and build that for you. So this is me inviting them to be a part of this club. I'm like, here's the date, here's the invitation. I sent these invitations to their classes. Like it was a special moment. And these are the ones who showed up first. 2004, these young men accepted. I gave out 18 invitations, maybe 6, maybe I don't know how many, about 18 is what I remember, the number I remember. And these are the ones who showed up to accept this thing that Mr. Branch sent them in class to invite them to something special that I thought was special. And now you'll see these young men who are now adults in their 30s, fathers, business owners, engineers, teachers. I couldn't have saw it right there in that class. I couldn't say, I'm hoping that these kids become engineers and doctors and lawyers. I couldn't see that in there because they weren't even doing any homework in math class. There was no way I was going to be like, let me try and help. I was seeing, how can I help you right now? I can invite you to a meal. I can have a conversation with you. I can get to know you better. I can hopefully build some trust that you believe that I'm here for you. And that's how the Ever Forward Club started. It was not me trying to figure out how do I change the world at the moment. It was like, I got to change a few things in this class. And how do I become better? So let me do this. I'm going to do a time check for myself. Let me do this. This text message thread I want to show you is, I'm having a one moment of debate of like, let me just show it to you. So it's already on the screen. Let me show it. And then we're going to move on to the activity. So this young man, we created an avatar of him. He's one of my young men. He likes anime. So he is what I call in my work a runner, which means that, these young people, they have power. You text them. And now, even though I can see that the text was delivered, they don't have to reply. So the power is in their hands. I reach out, they don't respond. I can feel something about it, and I'll just, he knows I like him. He knows I love him. I care about him a lot. So one day I text him, and I was getting in one of those moments where I'm like, I'm not texting you ever again, even though I know that was my emotions getting engaged, because he wasn't responding for like 5-6 months, just not replying. So I'd asked him the question, why do you keep running? And this is how his response. He's in gray, I'm in blue. Why do I run? And why do you keep trying to help me? It's so confusing. And it hurts me to run from you, but I feel like you shouldn't be doing this for me. Why are you there for me when my own blood won't move a finger? It's confusing. I don't have anything but love for you, Branch. Thank you. And this is like after 5-6 months. And so I wrote him a letter just saying, but I care about you because I care about you. I don't know how you came into my life. I don't know how you happen to be a part of this program. I don't know how it happened. But you're there now. And so in his mind, he's like, you shouldn't care about me more than my family cares about me. So therefore, there's something is wrong with me accepting your help or your willingness to be up there for me. Maybe you've seen that before. You try to help people and sometimes you're not sure how to help the best, but you're giving your best and maybe they're resisting. And you're like, why are you resisting the help? Well, if you don't believe you deserve it, if you don't believe that you're worthy of it, if you have your own messages that you've told yourself, maybe you would run from it too. And his last one was another season he was running again, and it's around Christmas. But I know that he and his family celebrates on the 24th at night. They celebrate 24th at night. So I know he's by his phone. He can't be nowhere else on the 24th at night because everybody's in the same room eating and celebrating, opening gifts. So I know where he's at. So I text him at 1 o'clock in the morning. I know they're there. Merry Christmas. I'm sad I don't get to see you anymore, but I respect your choices. I've been here for you. Regardless of what story you're telling yourself, I'm still here for you. And then he responds a week later, right before New Year's Eve. I just want to wish you a happy New Year's. I hope everything goes well for you. Let me see, I got to move this out of the way. And you reach all your goals. Just know I have nothing against you. I'm in a crazy place in my life. I don't want you to hurt over me. I'm a horrible person. You don't need me in your life. I need you, but I'm choosing to keep my distance because the only one who will be hurt at the end from this friendship is you. I love you, Branch. Please stay safe. Now, I never told him that he's a burden on me. I never told him that because I know what he does in some of his extracurricular things, that I don't judge him. But he's made up a story. He made up a story. And I'll tell you that the work that we try and do with our young men is letting them see that they deserve to be heard. That they're going to have moments where they may not make all the best decisions, but they deserve to be heard, respected, and loved still. And I hold that space for him, even when he does the disappearing acts. And so I'm sharing this with you just to say that the work that we're talking about here is not work that I've just made up. It's through conversation with young people that I have said, what can I do more to create a space for them to realize that they can speak their truth and it's safe. And I think it's important. Our jails are full of men. Statistically, 94% of people who slept in a cage last night are men. So either statistically men are bad, or we have been teaching them things since they were little boys. Suck it up, be a man, don't show no feelings. And then we wonder why they become emotionless. They become, as we call them, monsters. So we must lock them in cages because they're not fully human. We teach them, don't be fully human. Don't show these emotions over here. Only show these. And then we wonder when they begin to do that in life, how do we have to do work to do? And we can't wait till they're 30. We see what happens, but we can't. We have to start younger. We have to create the space for emotions to be human. And then here's the body I live in. Here's how but I got to feel. I get room to feel everything. Anyway, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I talked to her for a long time right there. I usually try not to talk in those long spurts, but I hope that a couple of the activities you got to do for your own self and thinking about what goals you have and what things you want to work on this year and not getting stuck in trying to finish the thing. We're still building ever forward 20 years later, but every young person that we got to work with over these last years has been a part of that journey of giving our best to every young person who hears our work. That's what it's about. Okay. Take a breath. I think we're ready to have you do the activity now. So let's do this. I'm going to give you a link in the chat. The link is going to take you to a website. Okay, that's the activity we're going to do. The activity is actually very simple, but it may not be easy. So just wherever you are in this moment, just give your best. It's a 3-step process. And in that 3-step process, I'll kind of share with you. Let me see. So let me see. Second. Get the If we're getting the link for you, give me 1 second. Getting the link for you. Okay. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. And when you get to that first screen, I'll show you what the first screen is gonna look like, just so you're aware. You'll be able. Okay. So this is the link that I'm going to be sending to you in the chat. It's millionmass.org. And then once you get to that link, you're going to get a screen like this. Actually, no, you're not going to see the screen. It looks different. We updated the website. Oh, right. Well, now it's exciting over here. I'm gonna put the link there. Sorry about that. We updated the website. So you're gonna see a new website. It looks even more clean, hopefully. You're gonna see a button that says create your mask. Once you click on that link, you'll see a button that says create your mask. And when you click on the button that says create your mask, it'll take you to a screen that has some instructions on it. On that second screen at the bottom, you'll see a button that says skip. And so it's really just saying, skip all these instructions. You can move them off the screen, and then you can see the activity right there. There's 3 steps. Step 1 is to draw a mask. And then step 2 is to answer the 2 questions at the bottom, step 2 and 3. So question 2 says, what are qualities of yourself that you gladly let the world see? And step 3, which is the third question, the second question there, says, what are 3 qualities about yourself that you don't usually let people see? And this is anonymous, so do your best. And then when you click submit at the top right corner, it'll ask you for some information. It'll ask you for your age, city, gender. You don't have to put your city. You don't have to, because it's not trying to figure out who you are. We make masks around the world. You can just put the name of your agency. You can put Father Core. You can just put workshop. You can just put anything there. But the goal, just so you know, the goal is not to try and figure out what city you're in, because we don't know you anyway. We don't know where the masks come from anyway. All right. So go ahead and begin. I'm gonna give you just about 3 minutes. I'll play a song in the background. I'll check back in about 2.5 minutes. When you're finished, if you can come into the chat and just say done, that will help me know that most people are done. And then I'll jump into the video. I'm gonna show you after this. Okay. All right. Please begin, and we'll see you in a second. You don't talk about. So we're moving to the back of the mask is the things that we don't talk about much. Sometimes we may get stuck on that. And so just take a journey from your head to your heart and ask yourself, oh, what are things I don't talk much about? Whatever things you feel comfortable writing there. And then any words on the, once you hit submit, then it asks you for some information if you're willing to share that information there, and then click submit or click done, I think at that second screen, and then you'll be complete. And if you can come to the chat and write done, then I'll at least know how many people are finished. And if you have already decided that I ain't doing this, what are you talking about? Maybe just write done anyway, because I don't know, right? Because I can't, we're not like in a live workshop. I can't see you. I can't like look over your shoulder and see if you're doing the assignment, right? So just write done anyway, because technically you're done, right? That helps me to be able to move to the next place and not leave people behind. So I'll give you about another minute, maybe 30 seconds to go ahead and finish that. And then we'll jump into this video I'm gonna show you, okay? I'm finishing up. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and show the video. I was looking at the duns. There's a few of them in there, but I'm imagining other people may just not have access, or maybe they're still working. I'm trying to not cover up the screen if you're working, so that's what I'm hoping to do. But I'm gonna follow my gut, and I'm going to this song that you heard that I was playing called "Not Alone." That's by the Alphabet Rockers. They won a Grammy this past year. If you haven't heard of them, they're from the Bay Area, from Oakland, and they have another song that they made about these masks. And so if you haven't heard any of their music, you can look up Alphabet Rockers, and the album was called The Love. That's the album that our work was featured on, a song called 100K Masks. And so, yeah, I just wanted to let you know what song that was playing. I only have a link for Spotify here, but if you want that, you can find them somewhere else. I'll put the Spotify link here for folks. And then I'll play the video now, just giving folks a few more minutes if they were submitting their masks. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show this video. This is going to be a video of a collection of masks from around the world. We have been making masks with people around the world. We have a goal to collect 1 million masks, to engage 1 million people in this self-reflection tool. And if you investigated the website, you probably saw other masks in there from around the world as well. But let me just show you this video that will show some masks from around the world. And hopefully this will get us ready for the conversation after this, because when we come back, we're going to be hearing from you. So here we go. The song is called 100K Masks. And this is the song that the song was made by a group of high school students in Los Angeles. After they went through the same activity, they created this song for us. So here you go.
Summer you'll never have until you ask. You don't know just who I am under this mask. 100,000 masks, I'm just trying to be a man. 100,000 masks, you don't know just who I am. May think you know me, you can't envision my past. You don't know just who I am under this mask. 100,000 masks, I'm just trying to be a man. 100,000 masks, you don't know just who I am. Walk 1,000 miles and I ain't never looking back. Before I take this mask off, gotta know myself in fact. I can never go too fast, I can never get off track. Leave it in the past, I can never come in last. 100,000 masks, showing fear of who I am. I'm just feeling good, yeah, I'm feeling like the man. Front and back of masks, trying to ask of who I am. Know just who I am, when you look inside this mask. Summer you'll never have, until you ask. You don't know just who I am under this mask. 100,000 masks, I'm just trying to be a man. 100,000 masks, you don't know just who I am. May think you know me, you can't envision my past. You don't know just who I am under this mask. 100,000 masks, I'm just trying to be a man. 100,000 masks, you don't know just who I am.
So I'm gonna just scroll back a little bit. This image right here is done by one of those young men on the couch. He's an art teacher now. He's an art teacher in San Francisco. That's the shirt. You can't see my shirt, but that's the shirt I'm wearing right now. If you look on the outside of this image, it says, of the face, it says, "I'm okay, I'm okay." And he said, well, because most people, when they say they're doing good and they're cool and they're fine, and they're okay, it's loud, it's on the outside. And why would you think they're not okay if they said they're okay? I mean, that's what people say. You trust them that they're going to answer truthfully. And he said, on the painting, it's harder to see, but you can see on this image, you can see over the mouth, there's a word there that says not. He says, I put the not there because it's actually hard to talk about when you're not okay. First of all, hard to see if I'm saying I'm okay on the outside all the time. and is also hard to talk about. And so that's the inspiration for this image from one of the young men who have experienced our work firsthand. And now I want to hear from you in the chat. Like, what did you notice? What did you feel? What did you feel as you were making a mask? Or if you felt some resistance to being able to make a mask, maybe you speak to that. Like, what did you feel as you saw the mask in that video, from ages all over the spectrum and from countries all the way from down under in Australia to right here in Oakland, like whatever came up for you, maybe you could just reflect. And then we'd love to hear some voices out loud if you're comfortable. If you're more comfortable to write it, please share with us in the chat. And Kevin, if you see any in the chat that stand out to you, please feel free to read them. But I just want to make sure I'm listening to people if they're speaking out loud. So you can reflect in the chat, and it's a pretty open-ended reflection. What's coming up for you? What'd you notice? What are you feeling? And we'd love to hear from anyone who's interested or comfortable speaking. We have one comment here. Powerful to watch the video. Thank you, Selenia. More education and workshops are definitely needed to the children in our communities. Yeah, thank you.
For me, Ashanti, it's how hard it is to really be honest about what's really going on in your life. It's much easier to present as though you got your shit together, excuse my language. Yeah. Less work to just be okay, to just be fine.
I saw everybody, or so many of them, show your confidence. I'm strong, I'm a strong person, and then everybody admitting, or somebody admitting, I have fear, I'm insecure. So you see it, and it was over and over again presented, because I guess that's what we're taught. That's the way you need to behave. You're strong and confident.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, to kind of go off of that, I mean, society pushes this narrative that everyone's kind of assumed to conform to, that, you have your life together and whatever is going on, you're strong, you can power through. And, a lot of people are, but a lot of people shouldn't have to feel that they have to power through, and there should be more opportunities and resources and options to assist them through those times. But since there's not, it's like, okay, I'll just stay back here behind my mask because that's what I'm expected to do.
Thank you, Jade.
I think it's also, and the mask showcase, it is powerful when we ask folks to truly be vulnerable. The responses we get from young people on up, I think, especially with young people, I have a lot of experience working with young people, and they always seem to impress when their voice is validated by the space, by the ask, by the community. And it just shows that even with this exercise and this activity, that folks are willing to share if they think the space is safe for them.
Thank you, Noah. And there's one in the chat. I think it says H Rose, powerful and sad at the same time. Thank you. And then there's another one, Sandra. We definitely need more safe spaces, safe places for people. This really drives home the fact that you don't really know what may be going on with people. We need to have more empathy and understanding as a community. Yeah, thank you so much.
And Ashanti, to bring it back to men and fathers, Noah and I just had our monthly dad discussions group last night, and it was about relationships and connections and friendships. And as couldn't be more accurate to say that we need more spaces, because there are men who want and need to talk about it. And sometimes they don't even know that they want and need to talk about it until they show up and are prompted with something to kind of get them to peel back that mask and say, and be honest. And so I just know that I agree with Sandra that we need more spaces created for that. Yeah.
There's a man I know. Thank you for that, Kevin. There's a man I know named Devin Gaster. He does a lot of work with men creating peace, and he talks about this idea of the hitman, and the idea with men in general. Like, if you have a male role belief system that has been locked in, and it usually gets locked in, started getting locked in early. You test the water, you like, okay, that's too hot, it's too difficult, too dangerous, too scary. And then you begin to like move into this male role belief system that says men don't show feelings. Men don't, and we got it from when we were kids. And sometimes it's hard to break those old cycles. It's so hard because they're sometimes ingrained in us. They're deeply ingrained in us. And this idea of when we feel somebody is threatening our male role, our belief system around our male role, then we began to put it on the hitman. The hitman shows up, and the hitman is trying to protect our belief system. And we've seen what people do to protect their beliefs, even though you would look at those behaviors and say, that doesn't make any sense. Well, beliefs are powerful. I mean, if you know anything about Joe Dispenza, he talks about the idea of like our brains can make us sick. We can tell ourselves that we're sick. And also that we found that if we're mindful, our brains can actually also help to heal us. Our minds can help to heal us. And I'm not here to talk about any alternative medicine things. I'm talking about like just idea of like, we know that chronic stress, how our minds are working, can cause health effects on our lives. And so we got to find ways of like reversing some of those things that have start taking us down the wrong road and bringing us back to be in a more equilibrium, but also be healthy physically, emotionally, socially, communally, familially, in our families. How about that? In our families. But if we never saw a healthy father, then it may be hard for us. We may be doing our best. Like DMX said, I didn't have any friends who had fathers. I gave my best. I'm doing my best. I know I'm not a good father, but I'm doing my best. I tried. I really, and when I hear him say that, I'm like, how many men are really trying based on a model that they didn't even see themselves? They're making it up. They're trying to read it in a book. They're looking in some magazine like, oh, this is what fathers do. And it doesn't work for them. They don't have those resources. They don't have those tools yet. And we got to find ways of giving them space to just name how they are feeling for real and what are they looking for real. And I see a hand there. Thank you, Leah. I hope I said it right, Leah.
I wanted to add, so I'm what's called an owl, an older, wiser learner. So I'm at UC Berkeley. And so it's interesting because I'm a sociology major. What you're saying is right in line with an exhibit that I saw at Oakland Museum. And it's questions for Black men. And it was powerful to sit there and watch it. And then I thought about my 3 Black sons and them with their father. So that's what the clip with DMX reminded me of. But not only do we need to give them space, but what it also does is help them have a better sense of who they are. And that it's okay that he wasn't there. And it doesn't make you less than because they weren't there. It kind of lets you be in the moment, like discover who you are and like reach into the deep recesses of yourself. And I had to do that same work. My dad took me from my mother when I was a baby and then brought me back at 5. And it was hard adjusting, to where's my space in this family? Like, who's this woman and how did she get here? Not realizing this is my mother. And so I love it. I love that you're talking about, creating a space and removing these masks, because we're taught early to armor up. Not just a mask, we armor up completely. And we have a suit for this place, a suit for that place, a suit for that place. And it's just so liberating to just be you. So I appreciate this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else feeling called? I think it may be a new comment. So I'm checking the chat to see if there's a new comment there. I think I may have read that one. Maybe this is a new one. If anyone wants to speak, I'll let you please speak. This is from Jasmine. Thank you. That reminds me of the work I did with men involved in the criminal justice system. Many of them had never been vulnerable with a safe and caring person. They needed to be heard by someone who saw them as more than a number given to them by the government and who believed in their potential to grow past their current situation. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And we've done some work in juvenile hall around this work, around giving these young men, and I've seen young men as young as 14 who in their minds, this is it. And I was like, brother, you're 14. Like, this is just the beginning. Like, you can shift this, and there's something about beliefs that are, if you're thinking, oh, you should just tell them that they can do better and they'll do better, right? And you would want that. I want that. And I think it takes more than just not only one person, it takes time. In one of our clubs, how many of you seen the documentary, The Mask You Live In? How many of you seen that documentary? One? Okay, good, I'm glad to hear that. So I'll wait for some more comments, and I'm gonna show you this clip. I think that's the best clip to show you right now. Anybody else want to say anything right now?
Can I also add, I think it's important for this space too, that the mask and a lot of times our armor, as Leah spoke about, and our young people who are growing up in chaos need to armor up to survive. And one of the things that was shared with me a few years ago was this concept. And it made me really understand that if I was going to be a safe space for folks, I had to give them permission to remove their armor and then to put it back on when they leave me. Because their community, their household, their walk home is not as safe as it is at school with me and with us and with my program. And that was life-changing for me, but it was difficult, but it was a maturity moment for me to understand too. Like, I can create whatever I can create in this space, but then I have to send them back into the real world. So I have to give them tools, and I have to give them the language. I have to give them the strength to be who they need to be in those spaces, but to let them know that that's not the norm. And there are people who love them, care about them, and who can keep them safe. So I think that that's the important piece too, because folks have this armor on and then they come into these systems, or they're part of these systems, and it's only frowned upon, and it's not really understood or appreciated that this is a survival skill. And the world is chaotic for a lot of people, for a lot of different ways, and for a long periods of time. So yeah, I just wanted to add that it's not necessarily just a choice to live outside of what we call the norm, and to act a certain way when we need them to act suitable for a certain environment.
Yeah. Real. Thank you for that. And I think speaking about the schools and what young people see and what they experience, this is the documentary The Mask You Live In is about masculinity in America. It was done by Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Her first film was called Misrepresentation, and that was about the underrepresentation of women in positions of power, politically, socially, and corporate as well. And so her second film, which is The Mask You Live In, is about that. And so I'm gonna show you this clip, because I think as we talk about the work, but I want to have you see it in kind of real time. Let me show you this. Here we go. We'll watch just a couple of minutes of this, and then we're going to make some time for Q&A or questions. And if you have questions, I don't know how much you know about our work, but I'll show you a couple more things of what we're doing, but I want to make sure that we have some time for some dialogue. And there's one more piece that we want to do before we close today too. So We have a couple pieces to go. Here we go.
This is my high school. I graduated from this high school. I never wanted to be a teacher. I was gonna be an engineer and make a lot of money. I became a teacher because I saw that my community was hurting without good teachers. And I think one of the biggest challenges was that, like, I've been through it, right? And so I want them to be able to know that they can move forward and they can succeed and they can do whatever they choose to do in life, but it's gonna take hard work. If you go 2 blocks away, you'll find prostitution. There's a lot of gang activity in the area. I consider it like a war zone, right? Our kids get up every morning. They have to prepare their mask for how they're gonna walk to get to school. So if that mask requires me not to let people see any of my vulnerabilities, that means I'm gonna have to put on a very tough mask. And when I get here, hopefully I can take the mask off so I can focus on learning rather than continually wearing this hard shell. A lot of our students don't know how to take the mask off. So I want you to take one of the masks, take the mask. Here's what we're gonna do. On this mask, you're gonna draw what represents you. What are some things that you hold up every day when you walk to school that you let people see? And then on the back, I want you to write, what is it you don't let people see? Like, what's behind the mask? All right?
Oh, yeah. What else?
So what I want you to do is I want you to take your mask and I want you to ball it up. I want you to hit someone across the circle with your mask. Don't leave your seat. Don't leave your seat. You can't leave your seat. Open it up. Okay. So who wants to reveal what's on the mask they open? Read it out loud, just the front.
Funny, caring, and happy.
Okay. What's behind the mask?
Sadness and fear.
Sadness and fear.
Goofy, kindness, happiness, silliness, smile, and fun.
Okay. On the back?
Anger.
Anger. Okay. I'll read mine. The front says entertainment. That's what I show on the mask. On the back says pain.
Energy, frustration, happiness, friendly, heart, smile, outgoing. And on the back it says sadness, scared, tears, missing my dad, trying to take care of my brothers, and pain.
Why do you think we hold back our pain?
People don't want everybody to know everything. You gotta keep your poker face on. Can't let them know what you got.
How hard is that to walk around every day with the poker face on? It's not just an activity on paper. It's about real stuff that we are dealing with as young men that we hide behind because we don't feel safe. Almost 90% of you had pain and anger on the back of that paper. That's not a coincidence. That is real. And we're only 8 here. There are hundreds of young men out there that are having the same experience, but they don't have anybody to talk to about it. They're holding back sadness, they're holding back pain, they're holding back anger because they have nobody who is even asking them, what's up with you, man? What's happening? What's going on? How can I support you? I want each of you to be able to say what you need to say, because if we're ever gonna dig down to the deepness of our pain, young men, if we're ever gonna dig down to the anger that we're holding behind, so we don't end up another man in jail because we just exploded on the wrong person for the wrong thing, we gotta have a safe place to deal with it. That's brotherhood.
I'll put the link to this clip in the chat for you. I want to make sure that I do have time for any questions, but I also want to make sure I close out with you. The documentary is really powerful. I mean, I hope that, you know, in the work that you're doing with men and boys and communities and families, that maybe you make some time and watch it. Maybe watch it with some of your families. But first watch it for yourself and see if it aligns with all the places that you have values around this work. You know, that was the first time we did the mask activity. I didn't know it was going to work. I literally had tried all my magic with these young men. They always came to the meeting ready to fight. More me than each other, but just an argument. Like anytime we start talking about emotions, everyone's like, I ain't got no emotions, blah, blah, blah. And they were starting to fight, they want to argue. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I knew that when they asked to come film, I said, well, you should go to our other club because they've been doing this work. They got a system and they're working well. And they're like, well, where are you at? I said, where I'm at. Now they ain't opening up. They ain't opening up. And they were like, well, we want to see where you at. I said, you want to see resistance? Because you're going to see some resistance. And in my mind, I just said, what if I could just do something where they don't have to talk about it? Like, what if they just write it? Because originally that was the vision, is that they just wrote it. They threw those papers around. We threw them for, a few minutes, hitting each other with papers. And then they opened up a paper that wasn't theirs. So when they were reading the paper, it was disconnected from their own stuff because they were afraid of their own stuff. And as you saw, that space. So that me thinking of what is one thing I can do, I can just try one more activity and not give up on them. One young man in that circle, it took him 6 months before he finally opened up. Like I knew his story because he had been in my office many times. I was a dean that year. He'd been in my office many times on many referrals. I knew his story, but in circle, he never opened up. I'm like, why do you not say anything in the circle? He said, man, they don't care in there. They just want to goof off all the time. I'm like, try it. Took him 6 months. And most programs, after a couple of weeks, you don't do what they expect you to do. They're like, oh, you know what? You messing up our data. we need to get some new people in here because you're supposed to have this solution fixed in the first 3 weeks. The transformation, your Riker scale, whatever. Like I knew that I couldn't be measuring them on my timeline. It was about when they were ready to trust enough that they could say, oh. And that day that he did, that day that he opened up, that he hated his father, the young man who you heard, who had the mask, who said, missing my dad, that young man felt his emotions arise and told that young man who said he hated his father, he threatened him. I should beat you down for talking about your father like that. I wish my father was still here because his father had passed. And I'm like, the first time we get him to talk in 6 months, and now he's getting shut down by another young man who is emotionally dealing with his own stuff. And I told that young man, stop. He's not talking about your father. He's talking about his father. Give him room to feel what he's feeling. Because if you shut him down, then you're feelings about your dad, but your dad's not his dad. And giving them room, and I think sometimes what happens is that the timing is expected differently. And we are doing that work because the young men need the work too. The young men are also feeling it, even though they're walking around like they don't feel it, or they're numbing themselves out like they don't feel it. They're feeling it too. And we got to give them room to talk about it in a healthy way, so it doesn't perpetuate the cycle again and it comes out in unhealthy ways. That's the work. So any questions right now? Any thoughts before I jump to the last few slides I'm going to share with you here? Anyone else?
Ashanti, if we have time before after you jump into your slides, I'm curious to hear from the group around how does this work with, how does this fit into, how does what you've heard today, I don't know if influence is the right word, but how does it fit into your work with the Family Justice Center, your work with families, your work in an industry where men are really kind of seen as, and are the, I don't know another word to use other than perpetrators of violence. I'm curious to hear that. I know we don't have a lot of time, but Ashanti, I'll turn it back over to you. I'm just curious to hear.
No, let's go there. Let's go there. I want to make sure. I want to make room for that. If anybody wants to speak to that, please do. Absolutely.
In the program that I work with, we work with homeless veterans. to try to get them employment. And I would say 95% or more of the veterans that we work with are men. And some of them come, have a criminal history related to, what they've experienced being homeless. And so I think, recognizing this, like it's definitely something I've known, but to be kind of reminded of that, definitely to ensure that we're approaching everyone with the understanding and knowledge that there's something that we're not seeing. And to just kind of be reminded of that was very good. So I enjoyed this.
Thanks, Jade.
I actually work with the Department of Child Support Services for Contra Costa County, and we're working really hard to create an outreach program so we provide more of a wraparound service because, well, before I was there, like 20, 30 years ago, they were part of the DOJ. So we're seen in a very negative light. So we are trying to work with job fairs and 211 and other community resources. So if you come to me saying, hey, I can't pay my child support because of this, this, and this, I can, instead of just being like, yeah, you have to pay, I can say, okay, I understand. Here's what I can provide you as a resource. Hey, there's a job fair on the 23rd. Let's see if we can get you there. Hey, there's this service. We had someone that said that they didn't have a working wheelchair. So they had, moving issues, mobility issues. And we were able to connect them with someone, to get them a working wheelchair. So we're trying to be more community friendly, I guess you would say, and be able to provide those wraparound services and then hopefully enhance what we are in the community and not just looked upon negatively.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I just left Solano County. I used to work for Contra Costa as an eligibility worker. And then I went over to Solano County as an eligibility worker. And then at the end, probably about the last 6 months, I worked at the Solano Family Justice Center. The entire time that I worked there, I did what most people call, offender-based training, where I dealt with people who were offenders. They perpetuated violence, domestic violence, perpetrators, if you would. I don't like to use that word. I say that you were the aggressor that was caught at that time. I don't believe that men are solely the aggressors or perpetuate violence. Because in my experience, I did a lot of classes with women, a lot of classes. And what I find is that there are differences, but there are a lot of similarities. It's all stemming from other things. It's not about the person that's in front of them. It's an accumulation of things that happen. But what I will use this training for, because I did something similar, you do it with masks, but with women, I did it with paper bras. And put it inside the bra when nobody sees. Put it outside the bra when everybody sees, because we're meant to hold people up. It's close to your heart. It's beautiful. It's pretty. And I did the same thing with them. And you'll be surprised what comes out of people, when you say, just let it all out, and then at the end, burn the bra, like, let it go. But what I will do to answer your question, Kevin, with this is I'm going to not do it so much in my work, because I've done that in the work arena, and even on the street, because I do a lot of work by myself with, I don't like to say homeless, but unsheltered individuals. I do a lot of work with them. But I want to take it to school, because what I'm seeing is a lot of armored up, masked up young men of color at UC Berkeley that could use this, like at the Fannie Lou Hamer Center. And I'm putting that bug in your ear, Ashanti. Please do, because they're walking around and they're having a hard time at school because we're 3% at the college. And they're wearing that armor and it's tight. Okay. And so I'm going to take it and make sure that I'm as open and even more open as I've been, outside of the educational, circles. Really make it a safe space, because I notice that they're attaching to me, and it's not a thing where I said, oh, hey, you can talk to me. It's kind of like they feel me spiritually. I can talk to you, and they reach out. So I'm going to be more open, with not just being so academically inclined, but kind of, make it a safe space for them to talk to me even there. I noticed that I kind of shy away from men and push them towards another male figure, but we do need to be nurturing as women as well towards men.
Thank you. I saw Al had his hand up. Al Gibson, is it? I hope I say the name right.
Thank you. I'm working remotely, so I'm having issues with my audio and my video, so I apologize for that up front. But I'm working with a new program that Contra Costa County has instituted. Is through a Measure X program that deals with safety net programs. And what they are doing is they're stationing navigators in middle schools in Mount Diablo Unified School District, Pittsburgh Unified School District, and Mount Diablo Unified School District. And the premise is to put them in the middle schools so that we can help address, barriers and behavior issues and absences, and just look at the family holistically and guide them through connecting them with services and things of that nature. And so what I will do with this is, when I'm working with my students, I will probably do the math exercise, to get them to open up a little bit more and to be vulnerable and to discuss what's going on. Because often we can help the whole family through the student if they can really say what type of environment they're experiencing at home, And I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Thank you so much, Mr. Branch.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, there's a survey in the chat box. If you please make sure you fill that out. It really helps me get better, and it also helps the organization. So Noah, if I don't know, you want to say something about that, just so that folks can hear your official voice on that.
Yes. Thank you, Ashanti. Please, fill out the survey. Your thoughts and feedbacks are important. Your reflections are important. And as you know, surveys are an important piece of all of our jobs. We need to track information, and we build off of the feedback that we receive. So that's really important. And then other than that, I'll send it back to you, Ashanti. We have Martin Reese has his hand up. I want to see as much time as possible for that as well.
I'm also gonna provide Noah, I'm gonna send you a swag bag that you can send to folks. So I don't know if you have an email thread you send out to them. I'm also gonna put the link to the full documentary. There's a version on YouTube right now. Full documentary right here. I'm putting that in the chat there. And then okay, I did all those two pieces. You got a swag bag. Noah's gonna get that out to you all. I sent the documentary that someone asked for. Okay, Martin, I'm back to you.
You'll receive the swag bag from Brenda. We'll send it over to the FJC folks, and she'll send it out to the mailing list, everyone.
Okay. Hey, Martin.
All right. So first, Shantae, man, I want to really thank you. This was, man, just well needed. Kevin, Noah, same to you guys. Thank you guys for putting this on. I work directly with men who are struggling, and I will be working with young men who are caught up in the system, as well as about to enter a reentry program. I live in Alameda County, Ashanti. I'm not that far from you. I really want to connect with you because I've been working hard at getting in Alameda County. I do most of my work right now in Contra Costa County. So I do some webinars, seminars, whole classes for parents and men. And with Pittsburgh Unified School District, I'll be doing some with Diablo Valley College, so on and so forth. I guess what I'm really saying is what I want to do with what I'm getting today is to connect directly with you to obtain some of those tools and things. What I have learned is the closer you are to those who are leading the fire, the more you get a chance to gain some of the things and tools that they have that you can utilize. Everyone connects at different levels. And so the people that I connect with may not connect necessarily with you or with Kevin or with Noah, and the people they try and connect with the same thing. So what I do want to do is I'm in Castro Valley.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'm not that far from you, and I would love to just connect and see how we can work together and do some things together.
So I put the link to our, oh, I messed up the link. Sorry. I'll put the link to our website there. Let me actually change it. It's actually wrong. And then you can reach out. A lot of our free resources are on the website. And if there's anything else, my email is on there as well. So HTTP : okay. Single colon. Okay. Yes, there it goes. www. Okay. So I know everyone has to go. It's 12 o'clock. I want to make sure I respect your time. I can stay behind, so I'm not in a hurry to walk away right this moment, but you have my information now in the chat. There's our website, Everforward Club. If you're on social media, see what we're up to. You're part of the movement now. So congratulations. Thank you. And now you're a part of this million people who are going to remember that there's more to me than you can see. And so as a closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the people who may never tell you thank you that you're serving, but I thank you on behalf of a little boy in Oakland who just needed somebody to see him past what his behavior was. And thanks to all the educators in my life who have got me here today. And thank you for those who are going to get to that next level, even though you may not never see it happen. So thank you, everybody. I'm local and I'm here, and so we're here to serve. I'm a servant of this community. I'm not living the life that I chose. I'm living the life. I'm living a life that has been called me to it, and I'm answering every day, getting up to give my best to our world. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Kevin and Noah, and I'll stop there. And Kevin, you got information about the Fatherhood Summit, or Noah's have it? So
yes. Thank you, Ashanti. Again, as always, it's a joy, a privilege to be able to be part of workshops that you lead, my brother. So thank you again for being available. I know you have a very, very busy schedule and are in high demand. So thank you for carving out a Friday morning for us. For those of you who are still on the line, please, like Noah said, complete the survey. Your feedback is important to us. We do make adjustments based on your feedback. We're here because we want to help and support you and your work. The Fatherhood Summit, the save the date is in the chat. This is a free event for fathers, father figures, and allies. This will be in Oakland at the Oakland Marriott. We've reached out to Ashanti. I'm really hoping that he is available to be there for that as well. So it could be another opportunity to be in space, in actual physical space with Ashanti, which is a privilege in itself. This is a free event open to all fathers, father figures, and allies. We will also have tabling opportunities. So if you are interested in tabling and sharing resources, you do not have to be an Alameda County organization. We know living in Alameda County, it takes 15 minutes to get to Contra Costa County with no traffic. And we got a lot of people out there in Alameda County with issues that are going on in Contra Costa County. So your resources will be very much appreciated. And just, again, an event that you can share with the men in your lives and your clients that you work with. This is an event that will celebrate, honor, and acknowledge fathers and father figures. This is not an event telling dads what they should or shouldn't or could be doing. This is about supporting fathers with becoming the dads that they want to be, not telling them what they're not doing. We get that enough from other areas. This is not a Saturday for that. So please, if you need more information, we're going to send this stuff out to Brenda, and Brenda will share it with you. But here's the link here. Sandra, I'll be reaching out to you. We've already talked a little bit on the private chat. Any questions, thoughts, comments before we get out of here? Please feel free.
Thank you. This has been a really good 2 hours. really, that video really touched me. Your work is so great. And thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ashanti and Noah, during our check-in, I think it was yesterday or the day before, there's a lot of talk about the violence and the crime that's going on in the Bay Area right now. And I just don't understand the shock and awe, the surprise at it. Ashanti is one program doing amazing work. Like he said in that room, there are hundreds of boys out here that don't have an Ashanti in their life, that don't have a program like that, that are wearing an armor that they have to wear to survive in these neighborhoods that they're navigating. And then we wonder why we get to a point like this. But I'm surprised we didn't get here sooner, to be honest with you, if we're going to be totally honest, with the lack of support that we provide to families and kids and youth. So I'm not surprised, and I don't blame the kids that are out there doing it. I blame our system that put these kids, that these kids had to figure out. So that's where I'm at. I will step down from my soapbox now. Thank you all for your time. I look forward to seeing you guys again next month. Hopefully you guys, I'll be able to see some of you at the summit in October 21st, Oakland Marriott. Registration is going to open right after Labor Day.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Fit will do what you need to do to fill your bucket. Self-care is important. You can't give if you're not full. So take care of yourself always, always, always.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend and keep up the
Friday,
excellent
everybody.
work.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Bye.